the time. Is it working this time? Is it? Is it? Is it? Is it? Is it? Is it? No. It still seems to be really laggy for some reason. What do I have to do? Oh my god. All right, last try. The vertical smooth. The vertical smooth. That is so. Why is that any different? so. Oh dear. I have no idea, man. No idea. Oh dear, dear, dear. Good? No. Nah, it doesn't look like it. Ah. What is wrong? What is going on? Is it working? No, I've changed every set. I've probably just ruined it even more now. I've probably just taken the settings that maybe would have worked and just thrown them against the wall. Ah, dear, dear, dear. Well, we'll give it a few minutes. We'll see what happens. Oh, Sally's saying it seems okay. Sally, I trust. London is red. I also trust. Horizontal is working now. Finally got it. Bang! And with 5 minutes to spare, if it's not a not applicable stream without absolute chaos ensuing, that's what you're here for, right? You're not here for the Formula One takes. Here for the constant, just dread that something will go wrong. Goodness me! I think it's because well, I don't actually know. Everything was the same as last week. Maybe it's just like time of day, my internet settings. Well, I don't know. Moving house, so I've had to change internet providers and bits and pieces. Goodness knows. Oh, dear, dear. There we go. We're maybe back. We're maybe not. We'll just sort of throw it in and we'll see what happens. We are in Shanghai. Hello, hello, hello. What webcam do I use? I use an old Lumix G camera with an Elgato cam link. There you go. Has it even started? Not quite yet. We're literally 2-3 minutes away from it starting. Let's just speed run all of the things I was going to talk about. So I did a predictions video this week. It seemed to go pretty well. If you enjoyed that predictions video, or you haven't watched that predictions video yet, if you could give that a watch, that would be absolutely amazing. I'm trying to see whether or not that will have some kind of traction to it. If it does, I'll keep doing them. If it doesn't, I won't. Your predictions ended up looking like this. The winner, the podium, the surprise, the best team, the struggle, the flop team. You know the drill when it comes to podiums and people and predictions. Drivers' Championship, Lando Norris is winning it because he's winning it. It's one race weekend down, though. 23 races still to go. Lots of racing still to come. So I'm hoping Lando Norris will stay at the top there. Impressive that Alex Albon is in fifth. A really, really good drive from Nico Hülkenberg last time around, because he then put Stakes Alba above Ferrari. Stakes Alba 6 points, more points than they scored in the entirety of last year. Ferrari only on 5 points, but they were set up for the wet weather. So maybe not really representative of their full pace, especially because it wasn't as wet on Sunday as we were expecting it to be, even though it was quite wet. I think it's quite interesting that McLaren and Mercedes on the same points, but obviously Oscar Piastri should have really come second in that Australian Grand Prix had it not been for the mistake. So likely that McLaren will kind of take the full-on lead of that Constructors' Championship standings, and I'm hoping that they can go back-to-back in terms of the Constructors' Championship this year, but looking really good for Mercedes because a solid double points finish for both their drivers. Kimi Antonelli looking like one of the best rookies that we have seen in a very long time, sort of outdoing a lot of the rookies that we were expecting maybe a little bit more from. Gabriel Bortoleto had high hopes for a little bit of a problem with his car. That was really annoying. I had high hopes for Ollie Behrman as well, but that Haas car just doesn't look like it's going to be working in the way that we were expecting it to. And that's kind of put us where we are in terms of the championships. Moving on to qualifying today. We've got 12 minutes in terms of qualifying one. We'll get into the detailed race board right here. The track map is the wrong size because I didn't get the opportunity to change it because everything was going wrong. Here we go. Here we go. That's the vertical. The Chinese Grand Prix, things that you need to know. It has been resurfaced this weekend, or just in general. So be a little bit wary that it might not be the smoothest sailing for everybody out there. The resurfaced track can be a little bit slippery, and we do have team radios this time around. So I'll try and keep that updated also. Whew. There you go. 30 minutes of content in 3 minutes. You can't say that I don't deliver. When and what time will the race be happening? Literally 30 seconds from now. There might be a small delay on the YouTube stream just because there might be. I don't know where the stream is right now. I don't know where I am right now. Hopefully it's working. We'll see. I'm going to quickly run ads because YouTube has started running ads a lot more on live streams. So I'm going to run an ad now, just letting you know, before the session starts, so that hopefully you won't get any ads during the session. Oh, dear. Fernando Alonso, Aston Martin. There he is. Lovely, man. Right, let's zone in. Let's focus in. Let's get our mindset back in the game. Let's interpret this and have a little look. Do I think the FIA will impose the swearing ban for F1 like they did WRC? That is the whole point. So, yeah, they should do. If they hold their nerve, they should do. But will they? Will they? Unless... I think just... The problem that they'll have is Formula One taking away nothing from the Rally Championship. Formula One is globally kind of bigger. There we go. Track clear. Wind, air, rain. You know the drill. We've got cars out on track. Here we go. The first sprint qualifying of the year. Shanghai, the second round of the season. an early start. Who's off to work after this? I am off to work almost as soon as this finishes, so it will be a pretty swift turnaround at the end. But thank you all for joining me. Apologies for the little errors that we had to begin with. We've got a few people that have rejoined us, which is lovely to see. And let's have a little look. On the short stream, can you see the track? Yes. On the main stream, can we see the overlays? Maybe. Yes. Beautiful. Everything looks like it's running. Everything looks like it's going. And we've got two Mercedes cars in Kimi Antonelli and George Russell that are going to get us underway with some flying laps here. Valtteri Bottas just behind, doing the homework. That's a great shout. Used to love getting up early, doing the homework. Hello, Antonio. He's joined the chat. Good morning. Good morning. You missed some chaos. Bortoletto coming around. Sonoda's on track. Verstappen's on track. Verstappen was a little bit of an odd one. Pretty slow when it came to free practice one. Both the Red Bulls struggling a little bit. But the Mercedes decided not to go for fast laps, actually. So doing 2 warm-up laps. Oh, wow. If it takes 2 warm-up laps to get these tyres going, that could make this qualifying very, very difficult. We might literally get a one-shot qualifying at the end then for SQ3 if it does take a couple of laps to get the tyres up to temperature on the new tarmac here in Shanghai. Matt and Tommy in trouble with the stream as well. I don't know what it is. Maybe it is just Shanghai. It's cursed. It seems to just not be working. But there we go. Max Verstappen, current world champion, the number 1 on his car. And he's going to get us going with a fast lap then. The Mercedes car's going for an extra warm-up lap, but the Red Bull's not. So maybe just a Mercedes thing. And that's the reason why they wanted to come out first. Verstappen, quickest in the first sector, as you would imagine, being the first car to be flying around here. Yuki Tsunoda also going quick ahead of him. Is Bortoletto on a flying lap? Can't see Bortoletto's times, but we'll see. I think it's going to be quite a tight qualifying here, you know. It was very, very close between a few of the cars last time out in Australia. You look at the fact that Doohan was just hundredths through getting through to Q3. Oh, my goodness. Similar with Kimi Antonelli and Liam Lawson losing out in Australia in the first qualifying. Like, I don't think that's going to be the case again. So I do think it's going to be very, very tight. Is the sprint today? It is not. It's tomorrow morning at 3 a.m. UK time. We will be live for it. Don't you worry. And Lewis Hamilton now setting his first flying lap for Ferrari as well. 0.03 of a second down on Max Verstappen's fast time through the first sector. Verstappen a 1:32.3. Hadjar, Gasly, Tsunoda and Bortoletto, the other drivers that have set fast laps so far. Antonelli and Russell have completed a lap, but as you can see, at 1:50.6 and a 1:58.7, they were not going very quickly. We'll see what Antonelli's lap times are like once he comes around. It's going pretty well through the first and second sectors. Just coming around the final bend is coming down towards the hairpin is Kimi Antonelli. Ollie Behrman, a 1:33.2, gets ahead of Gabriel Bortoletto, though Esteban Ocon slots in behind the Stake Sauber car. That has still not looking amazing. Lewis Hamilton goes quickest by a 1/10 of a second from Max Verstappen. Of course, we're just interested in the bottom 5, really, but there's a lot of drivers that haven't yet set a respective lap time. Here comes Kimi Antonelli, goes third fastest with a 1:32.6. Lando Norris going not particularly quick through any of the sectors. Sector 1, Sector 2, no purple times. Oscar Piastri goes purple in the second sector, though, as Charles Leclerc goes second fastest of anybody. Carlos Sainz with a 133.2 goes ninth fastest in the Williams. Liam Lawson goes fifth fastest overall as well. Do I think Kimi will have a good weekend? But, I mean, looking at Australia, absolutely. If he can get qualifying right, he was very, very quick. Got the strategy spot on as well in Australia. Even with a spin, managed a P4. Can't take anything away from that. Lando Norris comes across the line. Goes fourth fastest as Oscar Piastri takes the top spot on the timing sheets by half a second to Lewis Hamilton and Leclerc. The two Ferraris standing still, although Lando Norris also half a second off of his teammate. Lance Stroll comes across the line and goes 11th fastest. That puts Gabriel Bortoleto, Behrman and Ocon down into the bottom 5. Russell and Hulkenberg still to come. Hulkenberg across the line, 8th fastest overall in his Kick Sauber car. That puts Carlos Sainz into the bottom 5 as it stands, 16th fastest in the Williams. Sainz, Behrman, Bortoleto and Ocon, the 4 drivers that need to improve. George Russell on his first flying lap, so we'll get a respective time, but it's looking pretty good. He's 0.4 of a second up on Yuki Tsunoda's time through the middle of the track there. Down towards that hairpin, the long straight down here in Shanghai, and then a really abrupt turn 14. The overtaking opportunity if you're willing to lunge up the inside. I'm sure we'll see a few drivers go for it on Saturday and Sunday. But here comes George Russell then. Round turn 15 through 16. Careful about the gravel on the outside, but you want to use as much track as possible. Comes across the line to go 6th fastest, just ahead of Max Verstappen. Fernando Alonso also has gone 2nd fastest in and amongst all of that. Absolutely amazing. Thank you, Perth Luxury, for the super chat. Appreciate that, mate. I summoned the Ferrari International Assistance. I don't know if they'll need it. I think they were very much set up for a wet race in Australia. I think their pace was not quite representative when it came to the Australian Grand Prix weekend. I'm expecting a little bit more from them this weekend. But we'll have to wait and see. Maybe, just maybe, they won't be quite what we're expecting. Is my mic peaking? Let me drop the decibels a little bit. Let's go for a minus 6. Stop that peaking for some of you. Wouldn't it be better to show the bottom 10? That is a good point that I didn't think about when it came to the vertical source. I can show you where they are. So Tsunoda, Sainz, Behrman, Bortoleto, and Ocon, the drivers that need to improve as it is right now. It's going to be very, very tight indeed. Jack Doohan, the man on the bubble. Lance Stroll, 14th fastest as it stands. Also will not feel incredibly safe on that. Only a couple attempts quicker than Yuki Tsunoda's time. Yeah, it looks like you need... I feel like Nico Hulkenberg is kind of the safe point. If I was going to guess, like the lap times that will get you through, I reckon a 132.6 will. 132.7 from Lawson. I think he'll want to improve upon that just a little bit to guarantee that safety, but it's in and amongst the times that I think might just about get you through. Here they come then. 1 minute 40 still to run in this session. Carlos Sainz setting off on his last opportunity. Needs to find, I reckon, at least 4/10 of a second, Carlos. And was very quick in qualifying in Australia. Always a little bit off Lance Stroll's time through the first sector. Tsunoda, Sainz, Behrman, Bortoleto, and Ocon, the 5 drivers down there. Nico Hülkenberg absolutely flying, yeah, an 11th fastest right now. I think that will be good enough. Jack Doohan has also improved to 132.5, so that should be pretty good to get him through also. Carlos Sainz improving through the first and second sectors. Isaac Hadjar doing the same though. Lance Stroll also quicker than he was last time around in the first sector. Green sectors popping in left, right, and center here. So everybody is improving. Everybody's going quicker as the track rubbers in. Of course, only one free practice session. So the track being relayed is going to be very green out there. Slippery for a lot of these drivers. Antonelli improves to go 3rd fastest. Lando Norris has also gone top of the timing sheets. Carlos Sainz comes across the line, and it's 9th fastest for now from Carlos Sainz. Here comes Isaac Hadjar. He improves to 132.1. I think my guess of mid 132s is going to be a little bit off. I think you're going to have to go to the low 132s. Lance Stroll does a 132.3. Yuki Tsunoda comes across the line at 132.3, but just better than Lance Stroll. Takes the checkered flag. Pierre Gasly takes the checkered flag, and he's going to be out. Liam Lawson also out of qualifying. Hülkenberg, Behrman, and Ocon still on laps as it stands. Jack Doohan on the bubble then, under pressure once again in that Alpine. Here comes Ollie Behrman. Down towards the hairpin he goes, round turn 14, carrying as much speed as he can through turn 15. Is Ollie Behrman going to be able to do it? Yes, he is. 9th fastest Ollie Behrman. That puts Jack Doohan down into that bottom 5. So both of the Alpines will drop out in this first sprint qualifying session. Lewis Hamilton goes to the top of the timing sheets. Nico Hülkenberg round the final corner. Can he get himself out of that bottom 5? Gabriel Bortoleto would be his teammate that he knocks out if he can, but he won't worry about that. Comes across the line, doesn't improve. It's a poor final sector from Hülkenberg, and Ocon does improve, but only to 18th. Liam Lawson, the slowest man out on track. Wow, that is not what you want if you are a Red Bull fan. Let me show you all. Jack Doohan, Pierre Gasly, Esteban Ocon, and Nico Hülkenberg, the drivers that are out. Goodness me. Jack Doohan, absolutely so unlucky. So unlucky, Jack Doohan. 0.04 of a second off Gabriel Bortoleto. But both of the Alpines out. Bortoleto makes it through again, out-qualifying Nico Hülkenberg. It's 2 qualifying sessions now in a row that the rookie has come in and out-qualified his much more experienced teammate. Esteban Ocon couldn't outdo Ollie Behrman either. I think Ocon maybe made a little bit of an error. Oh, it was the final corner. Ocon just got a little bit out of shape. That is a shame for Esteban Ocon. Lost a bit of time there. Don't know if it would have been quite certainly a 10th of a second that he needed. Could have definitely been the difference. But there is Liam Lawson. Sergio Perez replaced, and it's not gone well so far for Liam Lawson in his time in a Red Bull. That is 2 qualifying performances where he's out in the first session, and a race where he found the barriers. Yellow flags have been thrown, I think, for a little bit of gravel on the track, possibly. There's nobody out there. The Red Bull era ends this season. It does feel like the end of Red Bull's dominance. Max Verstappen, though, still up there. Just Max Verstappen, 5th fastest to Liam Lawson down in 20th. And it starts to make you wonder, it starts to make you wonder, how long is Liam Lawson going to be given? We know that Red Bull are absolutely brutal when it comes to their driver lineup. Sergio Perez was given the benefit of the doubt, but he was given the benefit of the doubt because Red Bull were winning things. You know, Red Bull was still winning the Constructors' Championship, winning the Drivers' Championship. And as soon as they didn't win the Constructors' Championship, that was when Sergio Perez's time came to an end. It was that Constructors' Championship that broke the camel's back a little bit last year, wasn't it? Aston Martin faster than the RBs. Yeah, looks like it. Well, in the hands of Fernando Alonso. Hajar, Tsunoda, Behrman kind of in that mix. But we'll go for a second qualifying session and we will see who is going to end up in the top 10. It's so tight, though. So tight. Jack Doohan misses out by 0.04 of a second to Gabriel Bortoleto. It was a little bit quicker than you needed to be. I thought you'd maybe get through with a mid 132, but no, ended up being so the lower 132s, really. You wanted to get into the 132 threes to guarantee yourself a spot. Everyone else, the 132 fours from the Williamses, just about snuck them through, but had Ocon not made a mistake, had Hulkenberg had a better final sector, that might not have been the case. But there we have it, the 5 drivers that will not be taking part in sprint qualifying anymore this weekend. Just to summarise, Jack Doohan, Pierre Gasly, Esteban Ocon, Nico Hulkenberg, and Liam Lawson, the 5 drivers that are now out of sprint qualifying. They will start from the back of the grid come tomorrow's sprint race. And Liam Lawson on the radio apologising and just saying he could not get the tyres down, couldn't find the grip inside of that Red Bull car. Let's have a little look at an onboard of Jack Doohan here then. Tsunoda has an attitude problem. I think Red Bull has a second driver problem. Just nobody seems to be able to click with that car. And you can see Liam Lawson on his lap just can't. Like, he's just fighting the car constantly. There's no sort of smooth turning points or anything like that. It's just constant battling and hardship. And every single corner, he's making corrections. There's no corner where he turns in, goes through smoothly, hits the apex and disappears into the distance. Every single corner, he is fighting and fighting and fighting with that Red Bull car. And just can't get it on the apex. That's the main thing. I'm looking at the front left tire going into a left-hander, and he just can't hit the apex in the way that he wants to. And then when he does hit the apex, he's fighting the car on exit and can't get the power down because he's waiting too long to get the car into a straight line again. Really, really tough for Liam Lawson. Really, really tough. And it's just a snap of oversteer when he gets to the understeer, sorry, when he gets to the hairpin. Yeah, Liam Lawson not having a good time at all, having a really, really torrid session. And that is going to be it for Liam Lawson. Green light, though, and Antonelli and Russell on the track once again. Lawson being last, of course. I was a little bit more hopeful for Lawson coming into this weekend, if I'm honest. But again, one free practice session, I suppose, to get ready for it. And that one free practice session has not allowed him to get that car into any kind of setup which works for him. He'll sadly get the Gasly treatment, be punted off mid-season. Red Bull are running out of drivers. It's got to be said at this point, you know. They got rid of Danny Ricciardo, got rid of Nick De Vries, got rid of Sergio Perez. Like, they are rattling through drivers in recent years. You can go back a few seasons before that. They got rid of Pierre Gasly. They got rid of Alex Albon. You know, you are Danny Kvyat. They are throwing drivers to the wall at this point and running out of drivers that are sort of proven and ready. Where do they go? You know, say they get rid of Liam Lawson. I suppose they could do a straight swap, Lawson for Tsunoda. Like swap Lawson back into an RB and Sonoda into the main team. But even that's a lot of pressure to put onto Yuki Tsunoda, and then there's no guarantee that he does it. I don't know. I think they are at such a weird end to when it comes to they're just rushing drivers through when they really don't need to be. Like, they have literally got a second team to bed drivers into the sport, but they're so indecisive. Like, for instance, Liam Lawson could have easily had a whole season last year. Like, the Daniel Ricciardo thing, it was never really going to happen. Daniel Ricciardo was, like, if you look comparatively old in comparison to the other drivers that they had available, and yet they went for him and they gave him so long, Daniel Ricciardo. They gave him 18 races. It still wasn't happening. Post-summer break, still wasn't happening. And Liam Lawson then only ends up getting, 5-6 races. What's the point? Give him a full season. Try and bed him in. And then the driver that you have been betting in, Yuki Tsunoda, that you've had there for 5 seasons, you overlook and you go for the driver that's only got 10 Grand Prix worth of experience anyway. So what's the point in betting in drivers and having a second team if it doesn't even work? Bring back Ricciardo. Yeah, but Ricciardo was bad. That's the point. Ricciardo didn't have a good season last season either. I don't know. Red Bull confused me. Red Bull, I just don't get it. Don't understand. Don't know what they're aiming for when it comes to the driver setup. I think they're just aiming for keep Max Verstappen in a seat. As long as they keep Max Verstappen, it feels like they really don't care what else happens. They're just not bothered about the other drivers in the team. Anyhow, let's get into sprint qualifying. We are going to start to see some fast laps coming our way. It's a little bit of a weird one in Shanghai. You sort of have to wait 4 or 5 minutes before the fast laps start to come in. Max Verstappen just making his way around the final couple of corners, coming towards turn 16. Antonelli, 148.2. So Mercedes again going for 2 warm-up laps. Max Verstappen sets the first fast lap time with a 131.5, and Lando Norris comes straight across, scrubs that out, and goes 0.4 of a second quicker. Isaac Hadjar at Red Bull. Again, he's got no Grand Prix experience at this point. He did 1 corner of the Australian Grand Prix. Anyhow, Charles Leclerc, getting really out of shape for Charles Leclerc. Everyone is struggling with grip, though, it has to be said. The new tarmac, especially down towards turn 1. Seeing a lot of drivers turning in and then making a correction and sort of having to steer out of it a little bit. And we're looking for 5 more drivers to join Doohan, Gasly, Ocon, Hulkenberg, and Lawson. Currently, Behrman, Tsunoda, Stroll, Sainz, and Albon would be the 5 drivers to drop out of it. But only 8 drivers have set times. Only 3 of those drivers real times, you have to say. Antonelli, Russell, Leclerc, Piastri, Bortoletto, all going for a second warm-up lap just to try and get some temperature into these medium tyres. But no need for Lando Norris and Max Verstappen. They went straight for it. Carlos Sainz and Alex Albon are now out on track. Kimi Antonelli going down towards turn 1 and starting his first sort of real flying lap. Oh, no, sorry, ending his first flying lap. Antonelli, 132.0. George Russell, a 132.1. Bortoletto just letting Piastri by on the back straight. What can Oscar Piastri do on his first flying lap? Pretty good through the first and middle sectors. No purple sectors, though, for the Australian. Coming around the hairpin. Let's see what kind of time he has. Alonso, Hadjar, and Behrman still not out on track. Can see Hadjar just coming down towards the end of the pit lane and onto turn 1. And Tsunoda finally coming out as well. So the RB cars leaving it a bit later than the rest. Here comes Charles Leclerc, still a second off the pace in the Ferrari, a 132.1. Slightly quicker than Lewis Hamilton and George Russell, though. Hadjar, Tsunoda, Stroll, Alonso just coming out of the pits as well. Behrman also. So the kind of middle of the pack drivers that we're expecting to be the ones under pressure in this second qualifying session, just starting to make their way out on track right now. 3 minutes to go, and we still have 7 drivers who haven't set times. Gabriel Bortoleto, not a respective time either. But Bortoleto into SQ3, not with a time that is 2 minutes and 1 second. He needs to get back out on track ASAP. Darren Chen, first words he's ever said in the chat today. Let's be honest, Red Bull are actually a single driver team. Yeah, kind of what I said. Max's driving style, they fit the car to Max. They hope the Max does well. They're not bothered about anything else that really happens, are they? Alex Albon on his first flying lap of the session. No, he is 3.3 seconds off in that first sector. So Alex Albon definitely going for a second warm-up lap. They are leaving it very late, these teams, towards the back end of the grid. Sainz, Albon, Alonso, Hadjar, Behrman, Tsunoda, and Stroll all yet to set a lap time. Gabriel Bortoleto would be through just, if there was a red flag now, he would be through just on the fact that he managed to do a lap. It is a 2-minute lap time, though, and he is out again, is Gabriel Bortoleto. Norris, Piastri, Verstappen, Antonelli, Leclerc, Hamilton, Russell. The kind of names you'd expect to see going through to SQ2 pretty comfortably. Those top 7, of course, missing a Red Bull from there. Liam Lawson out in SQ1. But that does open the door to 3 of the drivers from the midfield pack getting into that top 10. But remember, when it comes to the sprint race tomorrow, only the top 8 score points. So there's only 1 spot for a point scoring place right now outside of those top 4 teams, thanks to Liam Lawson opening that door. Who is going to step into that and at least start in 8th place, giving themselves the best opportunity at that bonus point for their teams. And also just showing a little bit of pace before we have the full qualifying and, of course, the Grand Prix on Sunday. Here we go. Tsunoda improving through the middle sector. Stroll and Hamilton also coming around just behind. We've got Leclerc on a lap, Alonso on a lap, Behrman, Sainz behind, Bortoleto, Alex Albon just coming around turn 1. And Albon is going to be the last man across the line. So the times are going to start coming in then. Sainz, Albon, and Bortoleto, they're not really respective times. A 1:53 from Carlos Sainz is not going to be good enough to get you through, because here comes Yuki Tsunoda. And Tsunoda up into the top 4. That is a stunning lap from Yuki. And again, opens the eyes of the Red Bull team, possibly. Here comes Lance Stroll. Lance Stroll then goes quicker than Yuki Tsunoda. Here comes Lewis Hamilton to go 3rd fastest in the Ferrari. Verstappen is 4th fastest at the moment, just behind. Here comes Charles Leclerc, goes 5th fastest just behind Verstappen, but ahead of Stroll and Tsunoda. Antonelli and Russell need to improve as Fernando Alonso comes home 8th fastest at the moment. Here comes Ollie Behrman, just sneaks into the top 10. It's 9th fastest, but you don't imagine that will get you through, unfortunately, Ollie, because Carlos Sainz comes across the line, doesn't improve. Carlos Sainz stays in that bottom 5. Hadjar in the bottom 5. Bortoleto guaranteed to be in the bottom 5. Here comes Alex Albon and gets through in the Williams car. Albon, a great qualifying from him once again. And Albon has started the season on fire in that Williams car. Goes 5th fastest. Antonelli and Russell then both in the bottom 5. You would imagine they're going to be able to improve as long as they don't make any big errors. Alonso and Behrman, the drivers under pressure. Behrman drops down into the bottom 5 as Antonelli goes 4th fastest. And here comes George Russell then. Russell round the final corner. It's going to be the final driver to take the checkered flag and go 2nd fastest overall, dropping Fernando Alonso into that bottom 5. So Alonso 11th fastest, Behrman 12th, Carlos Sainz 13th, Gabriel Bortoleto 14th, and Isaac Hadjar, I think, had a lap time deleted, I want to say. Should we have a little look? Was it a track limits infringement when it came to Hadjar? Oh, he's not on the list. Maybe just a mistake from Isaac Hadjar. Here we go. Down to turn 1. Super wide. And a snap of understeer. And just completely lost the rear end of that RB car. And that is why he didn't bother trying to finish up that lap. Had already lost 2 or 3 tenths through that first corner, I would imagine. And Isaac Hadjar then makes his way down to the media area, a 15th fastest appearance. And Carlos Sainz saying that his seat was coming out of its attachment as he was bumping around the track. That is definitely not what you want. Doesn't give you the most faith in the car being stable going through the corners when your seat is literally moving around underneath you. And hopefully the Williams team will be able to have a look at that before the sprint race tomorrow. Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc just making their way back around. Antonelli and Russell, the final 2 cars out on track. We're going to dive pretty much straight in to our 3rd qualifying session, a top 10 shootout that includes Lando Norris, George Russell, Oscar Piastri, Lewis Hamilton, Kimi Antonelli, Max Verstappen, Alex Albon, Charles Leclerc, Lance Stroll, and Yuki Tsunoda. Lance Stroll ahead of Fernando Alonso there. Also one to keep an eye on, but a Williams, an Aston Martin, and an RB, 3 of the teams that you wouldn't necessarily expect to make it all the way here. So 1 of them, 2 of them maybe. But Liam Lawson opening that door, Tsunoda stepping through it. And that is sort of poetic in a way, isn't it? It's Liam Lawson, who is the driver that is missing from the top 10 out of those big 4 teams. And it's Yuki Tsunoda who's taken that final spot inside of the top 10 for the RB car. That spot that's opened up because of Liam dropping out so early in qualifying. I'm not saying that it's a storyline, but it feels like one. Feels like a storyline we should maybe be discussing, doesn't it? Yuki to Aston Martin. He's doing pretty well, is Yuki, but then you could say Lance Stroll is just ahead of him. Lance Stroll qualified 9th. We'll see. They'll go head-to-head in this final sprint qualifying session to see who really can come out on top. It was only 0.5 of a second between the 2 of them. 777 Enjoyer, hello, hello. Barca Milan, what's up? How's it going? I do enjoy this new chat. The new chat, you can't see it, but I can see it. Whenever you sort of say your first message or you like tag me in a message, it pops up for me so I can see when people are joining. I can say hello to people as they join. It's beautiful. But also maybe it's making the stream run slower, and that's why we had the issues this morning. You give with one hand, you take with another. It's very difficult. Albon proving his worth? Yeah, absolutely. Especially considering he was that driver that a lot of people were saying, like, ooh, he's got his first big challenge with Carlos Sainz coming in. I was saying it too. You know, you look at the teammates he'd had previously, Nicholas Latifi, Logan Sargent, you go, well, they're not really much of a challenge, are they, Alex? You know, you've got off pretty lightly there. Carlos Sainz, though, multiple Grand Prix winner, proved himself at Ferrari, would have been at Ferrari this year had Lewis Hamilton not decided to make that change, you know. Hello, hello. Oh, there you go. See, I've mentioned it. Now loads of people just saying hi in the chat to get their first message in. Love to see it. Watching this before school. I'm also watching before work. I've got my work trousers on. Got some lovely, I don't know what these are called. Cords, maybe. some work trousers on. Going to be a quick jumper change, out the door, straight to work. Hajar over Liam. Surely Yuki. Surely Yuki is the driver that they would opt for. If they decided to make that swap. If they decided to make the swap, right? Liam Lawson starts the season this horrendously for like the whole thing. Surely Tsunoda gets the nod then. Goodness me. What's this about Carlos having some seat issues? Yeah, he was complaining on the radio that the seat didn't seem to be bolted into the car fully. So when he was sort of going around the corners, the seat was bouncing around. Is that my sponsor? Unfortunately, I don't have any sponsors. Maybe soon. Maybe soon. Got something quite exciting happening for the first time on the channel. Been doing this long enough, but no sponsor as of yet. If you know somebody, I wouldn't say no. Maybe a tag here. Get me a little watch. Just do this. But no, I support other streamers. There's Mr. V's cap right there if you want to get some Mr. V merchandise. I don't know if Mr. V says his real name. I'll call him Mr. V. Mr. V is merchandise. If fancy supporting him, just subscribe. Thank you, Goal Line Glory. Massively appreciate that. And your first ever words in the chat. Anyhow, shall we zone back in as we do have the big top 10 fight ahead of us. All the way from South Africa. Ooh. There we go. Soft tyres indeed. Here we go. Carlos needs to learn to deal with all the and just drive. I don't know. It depends how much that seat was moving around. Like, I appreciate, yeah, you could have probably done a little bit better. Thank you all of you guys that are just subscribing. Just seeing loads of subscribers bounce through right now. Appreciate that. Massively helps out the channel. Completely free. You can always change your mind at a later date. But you hit that subscribe button. On our way to 120,000 subscribers. Haven't really set ourselves a goal for this season. Maybe 150? 150? Is that a little bit too ambitious? 23 races still to go. Not impossible. Here we go then. And it is Piastri and Norris out first and foremost this time around. The Mercedes getting jumped by the McLarens. They've generally been the first drivers out on track, Antonelli and Russell. But Piastri and Norris may be wanting to do an additional warm-up lap after seeing that it did work quite well for the Mercedes duo in that final Q2 session. But now we are into the soft compound tyre territory. So we can start to see a little bit more of the pace of these cars on the tyre that they will actually be using for the full qualifying tomorrow as well. I imagine the sprint race will likely be a medium tyre, maybe even hard tyre affair. Piastri, pretty decent, 24.2 through that first sector from Oscar. Then Lando Norris goes even quick. Oh no, sorry, it was Lando that did a 24.2. Oh no, they're pretty much neck and neck. Oscar's going to win this year's championship. Let Lando get ahead. Could do. It's still very, very far in advance. I love that people jump to that kind of conclusion after one Grand Prix. It's like, that's it. Ferrari are dead. They're going to come 8th in the championship. It's like, no. Just give it. I feel like you have to give it 6 Grand Prix. After Miami, we'll see what the championship looks like after Miami. And that will give you a bit more of a look at what the championship is going to be like. But even then, you know, McLaren weren't leading the constructors in Miami last year. Like, it all change. Here comes Oscar Piastri then, around the final corner, down towards the start-finish line. A 130.9 is pretty tasty indeed. Here comes Lando Norris is the words I was looking for. 131.3. Antonelli across the line, 0.8 of a second off is Kimi Antonelli at 131.7. Here comes Russell. Can he improve? Yes, only a couple attempts off, so splits the McLarens. Does George Russell. Piastri, the quickest so far. Russell has gone second fastest. Lando third. Kimi fourth. Actually friends with Kimi. That is very cool, Nathan, if true. What are my thoughts on the 2026 regulations? Oh, we'll delve into that at a later date. I will not tolerate Kimi hate. I feel like you can have opinions on whatever drivers you like. Lando Norris then. Where did he lose this time? Oh, it was just getting prepared for that long straight, and yeah, just got a little bit of a wiggle on, and then you're losing time basically all the way down to turn 14 if you make a mistake through 13. That is maybe like the most crucial sort of bunch of corners, isn't it? That middle sector, 9, 10, sort of 11, 12 into 13. You've got to get all of those corners right because it's such a long straight down towards turn 14 that if you do make even the tiniest error through that kind of complex of corners, it can just completely take your lap time away from where you want it to be. Couple of minutes still on the clock, though. Drivers making their way out. Hamilton just coming across the start-finish line to start his flying lap in sprint qualifying round 3. Last prediction, who's getting sprint pole? I mean, Oscar Piastri is looking very good for it right now. That is a stonking lap from Piastri. I'd like to think it's going to be one of the McLarens, but that's the thing. Hamilton has just gone fastest in the first sector of anybody. Maybe the Ferraris, now they're on that soft compound tyre, going to start to click into gear once more. Albon just behind. Leclerc and Tsunoda on flying laps too. Max Verstappen is just making his way around that tough complex that we were just talking about. 11, 12 through 13. Got to make sure that you get on the power as early as possible, but don't get it too wrong. Down towards turn 14. Max Verstappen comes then. Oh. And Oscar Piastri, not quite as fast as Lando Norris through that first sector. Lando Norris now goes quickest of anybody through that first sector as he completes it. We'll see the times as they come through, though. Hamilton has just gone quickest of anybody through the middle sector as Piastri hasn't improved through the middle sector. So Piastri not having the best of laps, might not even improve on his lap time. Hamilton coming around. Is he going to be able to go to the top of the timing sheets? Yes! A 130.8 from Lewis Hamilton. But Lando Norris going very quickly behind. Here comes Charles Leclerc then in the other Ferrari. 0.2 of a second off his teammate. Goes third fastest at this point. Oscar Piastri just coming around the final couple of corners. Piastri, can he improve? No, I didn't think so. It's a better final sector. But Piastri does not improve. Lando Norris comes into the pits. So Lando Norris clearly not happy with that lap time. And he's going to start at best 5th. Lance Stroll comes across the line. Goes 7th fastest. Tsunoda comes across the line to start a flying lap. Is that Tsunoda starting his flying lap? Wow, Tsunoda leaving it very late indeed. Albon slower than Stroll, but Albon on a lap right now. Oh, sorry, that is not a respective time from Alex Albon at all. Here comes Max Verstappen then on his flying lap. Sector 1 and Sector 2 looking okay. Not purple in either of them, though. So it looks like Hamilton might be on for his first pole position in a Ferrari car. And here we come then. Oh, thank you for subscribing. Lots of subscribers coming through just then. Maybe some Hamilton love in the chat. Max Verstappen, though, coming around the final corner. Can he improve? He does. Second fastest. Oh, it was so close. I was so tense. And they're celebrating down at Ferrari as Albon and Tsunoda are the only two left on a lap. Hamilton, a 1:30.8. Verstappen, 0.02 of a second off the pace. Here comes Alex Albon to go ahead of Lance Stroll. So at the moment, Alex Albon is going to be the driver that starts in the point scoring places. Here we come then. Yuki Tsunoda, pretty decent in the first and second sector, could certainly improve, and does on Alex Albon's time. A 1:31.7, and Tsunoda will start in the point scoring places then. It is Hamilton on pole position for the sprint race. Had a brilliant lap from Hamilton. Verstappen so close. Piastri within 1/10 of a second as well. Leclerc, Russell, and Norris with more to find. Lando Norris will probably be the most disappointed in that pack. A mistake on the final lap meant he didn't actually set a faster lap time than that sort of first initial run that he put in. Antonelli starting bottom of that pack. Liam Lawson missing from that pack, and Yuki Tsunoda taking his spot. Is that a little bit of what's to come in the Red Bull hierarchy? Yuki Tsunoda taking a top 8 spot away from Liam Lawson, who will start at the back of the pack. Alex Albon and Lance Stroll, though, will start just behind Yuki Tsunoda, and we're putting the Japanese driver under pressure for those point-scoring places. Alonso, Behrman, Sainz, Bortoleto, and Hadjar were the 5 drivers that we lost in Q2, and it was Jack Doohan, Pierre Gasly, Esteban Ocon, Nico Hülkenberg, and Liam Lawson, the 5 drivers that went out in SQ1. Thank you guys so much for watching. Apologies for all of the little errors that have popped up throughout today, but massively appreciate you guys sticking with me and joining for the sprint race itself. Hopefully we'll be back tomorrow, 3 a.m. UK time, for the sprint race itself, and then into qualifying as well. So lots of competitive sessions this weekend, and then finally, of course, rounding it off with an early start on Sunday for the Chinese Grand Prix. But we don't know who's going to start on pole position for that. We do know that Lewis Hamilton has his first pole position in red for a sprint race, at least. Thank you guys so much. Again, if you could subscribe to the channel if you're new, leave a like on the stream if you've enjoyed it, and we will be back tomorrow. If you haven't watched the predictions video, link in the description. Get that predictions video in you. It's got 5.5k views, something like that. Let's see if we can, there's 1,000 people in here. That could easily bump up to 6.5k if we all just hit that button just to watch the video for a little bit. That'd be absolutely lovely. Thank you for watching. Appreciate it, and I'll see you soon.